My guest today is someone who walked away from a high-powered career in tech and academia to pursue something most people only daydream about: freedom. Vinki Loomba is the founder and CEO of Loomba Investment Group, where she helps investors grow wealth through passive real estate. But we're not here to just talk about returns. We're here to talk about reinvention, about what it takes to walk away from the identity you've spent decades building and start over. Vinki has now started and taken multiple real estate deals full cycle, bought, operated, exited, while building an investor platform and launching a podcast called The Real Estate Vibe. But today, we're digging beneath all that to the personal, the messy, and the real. If you ever felt the tug to pivot, to build something more aligned, this episode's for you. Vinky, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Leo. I really appreciate your time and thanks for inviting me to your podcast. I'm really excited to be here today.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. So, I like to always start. Maybe can you give a 30-second, a minute spiel of your background so people have some context?
Sure, thanks for the beautiful intro. First of all, you said it very well. I pivoted to real estate. So my journey in real estate actually started alongside my long IT and academia career. I was an IT executive for multiple years, almost 20 plus years. And with that, I was also teaching moonlighting at California State University. And I did that about 10, 12 years, was teaching two courses each semester, mostly in IT domain, executive MBA program, or just regular MBA, and really enjoyed that space as well. But now full-time real estate investing.
That's great. So let's rewind. You were thriving in IT and academia, teaching, and in a completely different world. But these are both stable and high status careers. But something wasn't lining up anymore. And what was the moment that made you say, this isn't it?
That's a really good question, and I ponder on it multiple times and try to rephrase it, reword it, that why I'm here, why I'm doing this. But I think I'm gonna share something very important here. Life takes you wherever you need to be. So, in my IT career or in my academia career, I was always trading my time for money because I always trying to chase my dreams. Like for example, it's a perfect example. I was IT executive, good paying job, everything was good, but I always felt like something is missing and I wanted to do more. And then do more was more like for me to generate more cash flow for me or generate more wealth for me or for my family. And then I was trading my time for money. I was doing more stuff to make that happen for me. But fast forward when I move into real estate investing, I realized that, that how this pivot was really beneficial for me because I was not trading time for money, but I was putting my money to work to generate more wealth for me. I think that's the difference between the two, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I think it's a common thread among successful people that they realize the the game of success that we play in modern society, right? In what most people play is trading time for money, and then people that take it a step up, they trade time for skills. And then when
Mhm.
you go another step up, you're trading money for money. So you're investing in deals, you're controlling the back end, and you're sort of orchestrating this whole thing. I mean, you see a lot of family offices, they don't operate deals themselves. They just sort of they pick the horse and they go with it. So I think that realization was really, really important for anybody looking to move into the next level. But so when you're thinking back to that decision, um, how did you evaluate that decision to pivot? Was it feeling or did you have a framework to help you logic things through?
Now, yes. But when I started investing in real estate, I just jumped because I saw the opportunity and without doing anything, I think it's just the resources to, like a lot of people, you might have heard a lot of people saying that I was at the right place at the right time. What that really means with my experience that I have learned, the right place at the right time is like you're always at the right place, you always at the right time, as long as you have the right resources, right? Let's say, for example, if you have the money to invest, you have the time to do your due diligence, you're able to do certain things at that time. So that's the right time for you. So the kind of time was right for me. Things were aligned. I basically jumped on it. And then my first deal was with one of my friends within my friend circle because I thought that's going to be a really good way for me to start. And prior to that, between me and my husband, we had a small little single family portfolio that we were trying to manage ourselves. I mean, it was okay. We were happy with making money, but at the same time, this, it comes with its own pains, tenant, toilet, termites. So, which we were not too happy about it. But when we started investing passively, we really started enjoying that. So it was not just we stopped after first deal. I invested in first deal, then I did the second deal, which I already exited after 18 months. Then I did the third deal, which I exited after 11 months. So that was just like a totally proof of concept right there that this is going to work, how it gives you more confidence and it gives you more courage. So that's what exactly happened. And then I can say that now I was at the right place at the right time, and I had the right resources to work with, basically.
I love it. I love it. I think you touched on something very important there that I think there's two types of people in this world, right? There's
Mhm,
one type that think life happens because of them, so that
mhm.
you're always at the right place at the right time, versus some other people, they like to think life happens for them. So that you're just a person, you're the result of your circumstances, right? There's the people that take the victim mentality. They sort of assign the responsibility to an external party. And the bigger the external party, the better that they feel. They say the government isn't set up right or something like that. So I think it's powerful that you took that power into your own hands. You made that decision to be like, I am in charge of my future, and nobody else can live my life but me.
I agree on that 100% because if you live all your life thinking that life is happening to me, and that's what happened actually in the early years, younger years, you might have experienced that too. And I have experienced that in my younger years too, because sometimes you feel like, okay, why this thing is happening to me? So when this question comes to me, why me? Why this is happening to me? It means you're victimizing yourself. You're thinking, oh my God, life is happening to me. But when you think bigger, you turn inwards a little bit, do some self-development work on you, try to figure it out, who you are, why you're here, what your purpose is, why you're doing something, then the question changes, right? So it's not why it's happening to me, it's like, what can I do in this situation? How can I best possibly use this challenge and turn this into an opportunity? So that's where the mind shift is. And I have heard from a lot of successful people, a lot of high net worth people, a lot of family offices that I mingle with. Everybody talks about the same thing. Because it's just like opening yourself up for receiving. There are opportunities all around you. Does not matter what field you're in or what you're trying to achieve. There's so many opportunities. And it's just like having the right set of glasses for you, basically.
Mm, I like that, having the right lens for opportunity, right? To see
Exactly.
the right things in the right place. I think that brings an interesting question. So, if you were to speak with someone today, going through a similar situation, what words of advice would you give to them, or what would you tell them to do differently than what you did?
I would say don't victimize yourself. You're not the victim of the circumstances or the situations because what happened is most of the time when you victimize yourself, you are in the situation. You're just like so much involved in the situation yourself, so much chaos going on in your mind. So many thoughts are being created every single second, and you're totally consumed. So, my advice will be just like it's impossible to take you out of that situation when you're in. It's very easy, like you say, it's easy said than done. So the person who is inside that, it's going to be super hard to pull them out. The only thing is you just calm down, give your mind a little bit time, a little bit space. So you can think something else. Maybe this little space in your mind is going to make a difference. And that's going to happen is when you calm your nerves down, calm yourself down, do meditation maybe for 5 minutes, or take your mind after something else. Go take a walk in the nature. You just need to give some space in your mind. You need to detach yourself from the situation. And then you'll be able to see all of a sudden, I was like, whoa, I was doing that because I was inside. Now I'm outside. I can see the holistic picture. So that's going to give you some creative moment right there. I hope
I
that
love
makes sense.
it. Absolutely. And that made me think of this book, Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, because in a lot of society nowadays, we're used to thinking fast. We're just do, right? We line up our to-do list with a lot of things. But there's some decisions, especially the ones that would impact your life for years to come, that you need to think a little bit slowly. You need to
Mhm.
take that step back and not be in this executing framework and just sort of elevate yourself and go higher level. Go for a walk, take a meditation, journal, and see what's true to your heart. Because I think a lot of people, they don't spend enough time thinking through the big decisions in life, and then they wonder why they're there sometimes.
I agree 100% because I think that's the way we are wired. Our conditioning is like that because we are always in the competitive mode. Like, oh, Leo did this. Why can't I do this? I want, if he has 250 doors, I want it to have 500 doors. Maybe I don't even understand the context behind it, like why I'm on that. So it's very important to understand yourself first, like why you're doing, what is your mission, what is your purpose. So mission is your being, like what is your being all about. So I think these are the just like the very basic questions that everybody should address that first, and then I think there's sky's the limit, or I think you'll be limitless. Basically, there's no sky either.
Absolutely. And that leads me to this. I think leaving is one thing. Stepping into a new life, that takes courage. But now
Yes.
building what you have, you're a leader, you're an investor, you're a voice in the space. I always see your content out there. You're doing amazing. That's a whole nother challenge, right? So how did you build that credibility in this industry where you're starting fresh, so to speak?
Like I said, you need to get the basic questions answered first, like why you're doing something, why is very important. You need to address that first. Because if you do not answer that, there's no use of doing anything. Why you get up in the bed in the morning? Why so important for you to get up in the morning to do something, right? If it's just like another job for you, another chore for you, it's kind of 9 to 5 thing for you, it does not mean anything. So, first of all, define your why and your purpose, and you need to figure out where you are at your current state, right? You have to evaluate that. It's not like that, like, oh, in my mind, I think I'm like so and so, or I'm like CEO or some company, or I'm a king of this nation or whatever, like that, in my mind. But you need to evaluate that actually, at present, physically, where you are in your life, and then where you want to go, and your purpose and mission, your vision and your mission is going to play a big role in that. That's going to drive you where you want to be. So create your, in your mind, your future state where you want to be. And these things are very important. These are very simple steps. You need to know your present state. You need to know your future state. Then you will figure out how to get there. Because a lot of times what happens is people get entangled with how do I do that? Right? Even if you
Mm.
ask somebody to do something very, very simple, the first question is going to come to my mind is, how do I do that? So how do should come later. The first
Mhm.
step is figuring out your present state and your future address. If you do not know your future address, you won't be able to get there. I'm going to give you a simple example. Let's say I invite you to a party to my house this weekend. Like say, Leo, I'm having a party. Please come. And I did not give you the time, I did not give you the address, no specifics. And you say, yeah, I'll come. So tomorrow, when the party is going to happen, you can drive around the whole town all day long. You won't be able to get to my party. Simple. So that's how life works. You need to have your future address, and accordingly, you'll be able to find out your GPS system to get there.
That's an excellent point. I think in life, there's two types of force. There's the push force and there's the pull force. So what you mentioned is a lot of the pull force. So having a destination in your GPS that sort of pulls you towards it, it's something that you can get excited about, gets you up in the morning and makes you feel good about what you do. And the rest of it, as you said, how do you get there? You could figure that out
You
because us as people, we're in execution mode all day. We're doing little checklists. That's where the how comes in. But the where, the why, that's a little bit harder to figure out and to also stay true to.
Yeah, that's, I mean, again, it depends upon having the right questions and the right answers to your questions. Because the thing is, life is not a cookie cutter, and life does not come with any manual either. That tells you, okay, step one, do this, step two, do this. No, if you put yourself in the creator mode, like we have on LinkedIn these days, you are in the creator mode. So similar way, you can, be in your life a creator or a co-creator with God, and you should be able to create the life of your dreams or the way you want it to live. It might not be all about money. A lot of people think about that, my successful life is, oh, I have Lamborghini or maybe Ferrari, or I have a big mansion, the big house, because that's like shows my status to people. I'm better than the 10, 20 other people around me. That's success for them. But it's all relative, right? Somebody's success is just like, I'm peaceful, I'm calm, I'm enjoying my life, I'm making a difference to lives around me. That's the true success for me. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna boil down again to your why. Why are you doing something? So it's gonna be easy to answer. When you think about why something gives you happiness, it brings you to the place of calmness, no friction. It means that's your why.
Hmm.
If you think, oh my God, I'm gonna have a big house and there's a lot of friction going on, I'm gonna do that. You're getting anxiety, you're feeling like a little nervousness in your stomach because your body tells you what is why right, what is wrong. That might not be the real why for you, basically.
Hmm. Yeah, I think for a lot of people, they mistakenly assume their why should be a materialistic thing, but I think humans are very purpose driven. There is no meaning to life except the meaning that you give it. So for it to be something, I mean, for you, you said your mission is to positively impact 1 million lives, right?
Mhm.
It's not just about returns, it's about alignment. So what is your mission and how do you live it and how do you bring it to life with your business, your team, and the people you interact with?
That's again really good question. And then I'm gonna go back a little bit in my life. I've been like in a giving state from the very early on because there is some things that you learn. I think it's more like cultural. I'm from India originally, from a very, very spiritual country. So I think we grew up with these values to make difference in people's life or lives around us. So we were trying to contribute whatever we can. I was part of multiple nonprofit boards when I was working in my corporate environment too. Was trying to make a difference this way or that way. But it was my desire to make a difference in other humans' life, and then the nonprofit that I have at current is privately held nonprofit is geared towards women and children. So my goal is, like I said earlier, to help people to create a little bit space in their mind. Like, let's say if you bring the next meal on the table for them, maybe that was the only thing that they had in their mind, and they're just kind of churning and they're just kind of hamster wheel to bring that on the table. Doing that, some taking that worry off. So it's giving them a little bit space in their mind to think of something else other than food. So that's what my goal is. And I wanted to touch, like you said, 1 million lives in a meaningful way, whether I give them my time, my experience, my knowledge, my education, whatever I learn, money, whatever way I can contribute. Because my purpose of life is connecting with others and help each other grow. That gives me the true happiness, not just the money making. Because money is just like a energy. With that, you can expand more and you can touch more lives for me, basically.
Hmm. So I went recently to the Baptist Temple in New Jersey, and I learned a lot about just Hinduism and the religion that way. And I think religion, and not enough people talk about this, but there's something to learn from every religion, right? Because religion is there to teach you how to be a good person, how to form and contribute to a thriving society. So something very interesting that you said was that essentially lighting 1,000 candles does not diminish your candle, right? So to give and give and give, because knowledge shared only makes us as a whole better.
I agree on that 100%. And then I think you touched on something really good, religion. A lot of people are very, very religious. I'm going to go beyond one more step, getting more on the spiritual side. Because there's two aspects of it, religion and spiritualism. So when you're religion or religious, the religion binds you because it's kind of rigid. It tells you do this, don't do this. But if you step into, further one more step into the spiritualism sets you free basically. So when you step into that arena, you're just breaking all your boundaries, you're breaking your old patterns, you're breaking your limitations. So you're trying to, present yourself as true you. It's just like, how may I serve you? How may I add value to you? Versus expecting, what can he give me that I can talk to him? Or, building all the relationship on transactions, because when you're in that state, all your relationships are transactional relations. But when you're going beyond one step, this is like much more than transactions, because these are the like real relationships. And if the transaction is supposed to happen, it will happen automatically. You don't have to push or pull or anything like that.
The best deals are the ones that come together,
Exactly.
and people like to work with good people.
Mhm.
And I think it's so rare in nowadays to come across someone with a similar mindset of a giving mindset, because I feel like right now there's a lot of people that are always thinking me, 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 me. Like, what can I negotiate? What can I get? And I'm sure in real estate, you and I know there's a lot of the times where it's a very combative experience. But I think life is too short, right? We want to be that force of positivity. We want to improve the world, and just, there's an abundant world of deals out there. So there is no shortage, right?
No, I say this all the time. I say that again. There is so much fish in the ocean. There's no possible way one can fish all. That's just a myth. There is so much for everybody. Even everybody takes whatever they need or whatever they want or whatever they desire. Still, there's going to be so much more out there. So just having that abundance mindset, it just changes everything for you, basically.
Now, speaking of real estate, let's go to that. So how how do you see your mentality interact with others? Do you see people have the same mindset, or do you seek the people with the same mindset? How does that affect the deals that you put together, maybe the investors that you help, things like that?
I think mindset plays a big role, and it's just like you're connecting with investors or the syndicators, operators at a totally different level, because you're creating some kind of a trust relationship with them that even beyond their expectations sometimes,
Yeah.
because if you're just talking the numbers only, okay, you're gonna get this, and done. It's like it might happen, might not happen, but it's not gonna give you the true essence of the deal or the true happiness or true contentment that why you're doing this thing. For me, it's just like when I build relationship with my any of my partners, because I partner with a lot of people and I respect them, they respect me, and we like to do deals over and over again. Just because we trust each other, I give them a full trust because there is no reason to doubt them until excuse me, until unless something really bad happens. But when you create your relationship based on that kind of trust, things go really well. I can tell you that from my experience, because people wanted to prove your trust. They wanted to, they feel that trust in them and they wanted to prove themselves. They'll go like all the way to make things happen for you.
I think that was such a beautiful point, and I'm going to prove that it's not just philosophy, not just woo-woo thinking. This is actually impactful in business because what a lot of people get wrong, what a lot of investors get wrong when they look at a deal, they look at the pitch deck, they see these fancy numbers, these high returns, and they're like, oh, I love it, right? And then they invest, but then they don't know the sponsors at all. But in reality, the execution, the operations, that's the most important part. So you have to know the team behind the deal. You have to believe that they have the right skills and that they have the right personality to persevere, to give you transparent updates because they're going to be a steward of your capital. So you want to make sure that you actually trust them.
I mean, that's true. That's the first thing. And that's where we call something called due diligence that comes into play. So when you're building relationship, you need to know that you are partnering with the right people. And for that, and I take my sweet time to partner with somebody. I take good 3 to 6 months, and then we build relationship from ground zero. It takes us, multiple meetings back and forth. And a lot of times I go in, I will just like be totally novice. I will say, I do not understand, we're starting ground zero because I wanted to test their patience, how many times they want to talk to me. And if somebody gets frustrated, they're like, okay, oh, I don't want to answer this. So they're going to do that too during the deal, right? Because when I'm getting in a deal with somebody, I'm getting in the deal for 5 years, 7 years. And if the person gets frustrated with me on the second meeting or third meeting, it means it's not going to last for 5 years, 7 years. So that's a litmus test right there, right? So you go as, okay, pretend you do not know anything. Teach me. One meeting, two meeting, three meeting. I mean, you're going to see the true color. So that's the reason I say it's very, very important to find the right partners. And due diligence is very, very important. And it's due diligence is not just like checking the numbers only. It goes beyond that. You have to look at the person's character, like what they have done in the past. Maybe they were W-2 employee, maybe they were teacher, maybe they were doctor, engineer, whatever they were. And then look at that track record and see what their mindset was there, how they were responding to the situations. Were they like the solution providers or like more like problem creators or just crying over the problems? So that behavior will tell you how they're gonna act or react in the current deal. Because some patterns in your life they stay all along with you. They're not going to change just because you were in the corporate world and then you step into real estate. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to change yourself. No, you're going to bring that along. And if you're a problem solver in your corporate world, you're going to do the same thing over here. But if you're a problem maker there, same thing's going to happen here. So that's very important to learn whenever you're doing a due diligence and whenever you're trying to build a strong relationship with somebody. You will know after 2, 3, 4 meetings that this thing is going to work out for you or no. Just don't go for the flashy numbers. That's what I have to say. Go beyond that.
Too many people fall for that, definitely.
Yeah.
So I agree completely with you. I think in real estate especially, the days turn into years, the years turn into decades. And this is a long-term thing. And I see a lot of people reach out to me, they want to partner with me on deals and stuff. And like you can tell they're just deal junkies and they just
Mhm.
want to get a deal across the finish line. But in operations, in what we do, these business plans are 5, 10 years. It's not something to rush into. And to what I mentioned earlier is that people make big decisions a little bit too quickly sometimes. They don't do their due diligence, they don't think the right way, they don't connect with the people, and then they're surprised when it doesn't work out.
That's true. I agree. I think that's the reason we have to take a pause and learn to respond versus reacting. If you find something really good, it's a 10% prep for 80/20 or 90/10 split. Oh my God, I'm gonna make so much money. You don't know what's gonna happen 5 years down the road or 10 years down the road. So you need to dig a little bit deeper to understand that and build that trust relationship first before you putting your money out there. I don't know. I mean, that's what I have to say from my experience. But again, everybody's experience is different as well because you create your own world. And that's all dependent on your past experiences, and that how your next experience gonna be meaningful.
Mm. So a lot of people out there, they have diligence checklist, right? They want to check how the property is, how the deal is, but I don't think enough people have a personality diligence checklist, which I think you're great at. So what's on your personality diligence checklist of when you're evaluating a potential partner if you want to work with them or not?
I think that's the number one in my list in the due diligence. Because the way I look at it, all these deals, whether it's a mobile home park, multifamily, industrial, whatever it is, you know, you just betting on the operator, the jockey. Jockey is more important than the horse, right? Property could be so good, everything could be hunky dory, good market, good location. If the operator is not up to your standards, the deal is going to fail. So you wanted to focus on the person, the jockey, how what the track record is, how they have done in the past, what their temperament is. Number one, I mean that's important for me because that shows their patience. If they are patient, they're gonna be more like responding to the situations versus reacting. If they are reacting, it means the outcome is not gonna be good. That's the reason I was saying you need to have multiple meetings. You need to understand and ask the question, ask the same questions over again and see if people get irritated because that will tell you their personality or that will give you a little bit more insight into it. But other than that, these days social media is such a big thing. People are all over the social media. You can do the background checks on them and you can just Google them. You can just go check their profiles on LinkedIn, Facebook, and see what kind of posts they are making. That's very important too, because that reflects your personality. Because most of the time, the post that you're making that will show you where you're coming from. I hope I
Absolutely.
question.
Absolutely. And just thinking about deals, so you've gone three full cycle deals now that were bought, operated, and exited. I think that's where a lot of the nuggets live. So what did you learn about the process that you couldn't have just learned just by buying and holding?
I'm gonna correct you right here. I did not buy it. Partnered with others. Uh, I have like three different partners on three different deals that we exited. And then every deal has some similarities, but a lot of differences too. But I think the market was good too because we exited in 21. I think almost all of them. One, I think one in 23 maybe. It was just like the market was so good, and we renovated the deals, like we renovated few units, and all of a sudden the valuation was so high. So as a team, we decided to exit. So which was like a really, really good deal, I would say, or the unicorn deals you can say, because it gives you a lot of profit if you're coming out like that. But it sets you up as a good operator or a good track record for you, and then it's a lot of learning too because you feel like, okay, this thing worked for me because we renovated this exterior only in one property, and then it was just like the bill was good, the interior was so good anyways to begin with, and it just changes the evaluation for the property. So these kind of things, it gives you like a little bit more insight into it. How should I do it, or how should I renovate it? And then just like keep a kind of check on us, like, after renovating this much, how much I can increase the rent and how much my evaluation of the property is. So those kind of things, play kind of handy when you're doing the next projects or the next things. And then also some things, oh, it didn't bring any value, or added for certain things, which was not much value for me, did not bring much more value overall in the deal. So maybe if I don't do that next time, it's not gonna hurt me overall. So those
Mhm.
kind of the basic things that you learn, I think, in most of the deals. And that's the reason it's important to always keep a list of do's and don'ts. And it might change because each property, each experience is different. But some of the basics can still stay the same. Excuse my voice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You learn so much by doing. I think real estate's one of those things. Well, I would say business and life in general, it's it's better to be a practitioner than a theorist, right? And that's why, people who just read a book about real estate, like they can't immediately do a deal, or, people that are in I don't know. There's what we call theory nerds, right? All they do is read and read and read, and they just don't take action. But I think it's important to just do it and keep a journal of things that you've learned. I've certainly learned interesting things that I never thought I would in real estate that I did not read. So it pays to do.
That's true. I know. And you're so right about that. I think you can read, for me, I'm going to talk from my experience. Whatever I'm sharing today is my experience, and then it might resonate with somebody, might not, because, like I said, everybody has a different experience and they process things differently. Whatever we process in our mind, it's all based on our past experiences.
So you've done a lot, and you've had an extensive career. I mean, going from tech and academia and now real estate. Now, what's next for you?
What's next for me? That's a really good question. I think I'm at a really good space right now. So, like, my goal is to touch 1 million lives, which one of my friends, he's a billionaire. He told me I might have already done that. But what if I can, always expand to more lives? So, my goal is to make my nonprofit a public nonprofit and then see if I can take on more projects, not just in India, but globally. If I can do that, that will give me true happiness, Because by the end of the day, I think I'm not gonna take anything with me. Everything is gonna stay here. The more I'm gonna give out, that the feeling or the sense of fulfillment, I think that will go with me. And that will complete me basically, if I put it this
Mm,
way. So I'm not running after something. I'm just like really calm, just doing things. And I just enjoy the process basically. Because I
mm.
know life is a journey, it's not a destination. I'm not rushing to get somewhere. Because if you rush to get somewhere, you know that what's going to happen. There's nothing after that, right? That's the end of life, basically. So I'm not rushing. I'm just like taking my sweet time, enjoying whatever I'm doing. I'm just enjoying the process. Like, I really enjoyed meeting with you, and I'm here at your podcast, enjoying this conversation with you. So I'm just like, I'm committed to be present in the present moment. No matter whatever this moment is, I'm going to make the best out of it. That's what my goal is.
The present is all we have. It's beautifully
That's so true.
said.
That's
I
so
think
true.
the journey is the destination. A lot of people forget that, and that's the perfect analogy about life is that the destination is dying.
That's
The
true.
journey is the destination. So what are you going to do with your life? How do you live it fully, right? Not just have an impressive track record or something, but there's more to life than that. Helping people and truly making that difference in their lives. Um, I think that's a feeling that more people should have. So thank you for sharing that, Vinky. Um,
Yeah,
anything that you wanted to add just before we wrap up here? And thank you for all your insights so far.
sure. I just wanted to say one thing. I say this all the time that in the chaos called life, don't forget to live because you will see, oh gosh, 90% or maybe more. I mean, don't quote me on the percentage. I see so many people around me, they're not even living, they're just sleepwalking. They're just chasing these shiny objects and they're just missing the happiness in that moment or they're missing the whole process. I just feel like, oh gosh. And by the end of the day, then you're gonna realize, oh my God, what I was doing. So I just
Yeah.
say all the time, just learn to live, enjoy every moment, laugh more, find the good friends who gives you happiness, or who are vibrating at your similar wavelength. You enjoy, and your network is net worth. And then things gonna happen. You're gonna see the change. You're gonna see how things are happening for you. And you will not feel like victim to life, but you'll see life is happening for you, not to you.
I love it. That's the perfect way to end the podcast. So,
Thank you.
Vinky, thank you so much for coming on. Final question. How can people connect with you?
Well, the best way to connect with me is LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, pretty active. So you can connect with me there, or you can go to my website, www.lumbainvest.com, and you can download my free ebook. It's on syndications. And would love to connect with anybody or everybody.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Vinky.
Thanks for having me on your podcast, Leo. I really enjoyed it.